I got a wonderful looking for game to capture screen going on right now. There we go. Three more levels. I can switch over to play Poison Blade Vortex.
Yeah. Okay. So. Oh yeah, I have a map for some reason.
You have a map?
Yeah, I have a tier 1 map for some reason. I think I found it in a heist. No, I have a single map. Okay. Show filters.
I need to find some more poison. Chance to poison.
Can I even see global? Oh god, yes, I can see global chat. Okay. Okay. And we're going to turn off. Yeah, we're going to turn all those off.
Oh, that is a very far way to grab just for enough chance to poison. You know what? I'm going to go for it sooner than I probably should. Okay. Okay. We got this. Time to go kill Dorizio and Calm.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
I am the wrestle, the sword
$10
king.
billion.
It was here in the pits of Theopolis that I made my name, killing rabid dogs and wild boars before I could even be considered a man. In this, so glorious of arenas, I care nothing for your past, only your future. And for that, you will have to fight.
Can you see that? Okay, you can
Your
see that.
lecturer's hideout.
No, I'm just making sure. Okay, can you try to invite me to a party?
Yeah, give me a second.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not completely insane.
Trying to make sure you're not completely insane.
Have you done it?
Invite to party.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, you have a portrait frame on.
No. I've been messaging people trying to trade currency, and I haven't gotten any responses. So.
So you were like, I hope
Low mana.
I'm trying to figure out if I'm glitched or not, basically. But it appears I am not glitched because I can, in fact, invite you. And
maybe you can only invite friends.
Oh.
And you're like super glitched. And you just don't know it yet.
I don't know.
So you're trying to trade what currency for what?
Fusings for chaos.
What is the trade rate you're looking for?
3 or 4 to 1.
$10 million.
Okay.
7 to 2 would be fine.
7
I
to
have 15.
Just need a moment.
You have 15 what?
15 fusings.
Oh, okay. You're trying to get chaos orbs then.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Chaos orbs.
4.
Hiri's Demise Quiver.
Okay. Give me a second, I will just give you the chaos orbs.
I need 7 more chaos orbs. Do you need any fusings?
Not right now.
Okay. Let me know if you need fusings, because I literally don't need them, because I bought 2 6 links.
Who will have your hide? Slaughter is at hand. An adequate performance challenge. If a little missed.
Let me just go to this waypoint real quick.
Yeah, sure.
An audition. Let us welcome to the grand arena of Theopolis. It is here that I first laid eyes.
Yeah, Doracio. No one cares. You need 7 more?
Yeah. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I just gotta hope this thing is still on the market. Come on, baby. Refresh, and it's already been bought. Shit. Oh well. I will wait until now that I have the chaos at least, I can wait until somebody is a dum-dum. And lists one of the good ones for
Cheap.
cheap. Is there a way to do live searches?
Yes.
On the official trade site or just on POE
Yes.
Trade? How do I do that?
Die a death worthy of applause, gladiator.
If you, after you search, you can look next to it and it says activate live search.
Where?
Okay,
Do I have
so,
to log in for that?
yes.
Oh. Log in. Steve.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
No, that's not right. Okay, there we go. Logged in. Nodorama. Okay, go back to trade. Logged in is not enough. Okay. Activate live search. Wait. Deactivate live search. Show filters. I need to fill in this search. Activate. Okay. And then doot. Permissions. RF. Let's do it.
Low on mana.
You doing things. Okay. So, live search is gonna let me know any one of those ones.
Reminds me of how it feels to be possessed with the idea of victory. Is your passion enough to claim a crown? We shall see.
Because I could go do a boss fight, but I'd rather have a little more damage for a boss fight because I am clearing white monsters.
A king of swords is nothing if he cannot defend his crown.
Is okay? So Sarah, your connection is freezing. Are you having any issues with any other internet functionality on your current connection? Is it me or is it your stuff? Because I can switch to a different like algorithm and stuff for the stream because I'm currently streaming at what is it 1080p and I'm using the highest sample settings in OBS. Oh, leave trade chat.
Small
again.
potatoes.
I don't care about trade chat.
Oh, can you sing one
Why
for me
people
too,
are advertising and
Neville?
not sending me
Something
party invites
upbeat,
because
please.
probably because I don't send them the standard this is what I want message. Like, yeah, I want to trade more than just my fusings if you're offering to trade everything. Yeah, so right now, because I'm just basic streamer, basic boy,
Just
I
need a moment to
can't.
catch my breath.
I have to change my output settings because Twitch doesn't have the automatic downscaling feature until you become a whatchamacallit.
Affiliate.
Yeah, affiliate, whatever. It eventually
China.
I don't have it yet. So I'm currently streaming on like extremely excellent settings.
I'm back to playing this game because our game time's over, Annabelle.
And I'm doing it. My sister's doing just fine.
Yes, it was.
She does not take no for an answer very well, does she?
No. She does not take no for an answer very well. Our game time is over.
No, it's not.
Mommy said so.
Mine said no. I would never say that.
Yes, she would. And she did.
Got a skill point. I think I leveled up. I guess I leveled up. I literally was not paying attention to me doing stuff. I don't know, but
Don't you just hate when you do that?
yeah, mostly meaningless at this point. Because it's another small passive, but I don't have the brutal restraint yet to actually make it really worthwhile.
Mines need to be more responsive.
More responsive to what?
I don't think I have enough arming speed, replacement speed for him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're sometimes it can be problematic to get enough like trap throwing speed or mine laying speed or throwing speed. Do they call it throwing in this game? Mine throwing? Because I guess you are technically. Are you throwing the mines or are you laying them at your feet? I don't know.
Oh no, you're throwing them.
Okay, so mine throwing
Just
speed,
need a moment to
whatever
catch
the
my breath.
language is.
It's laying speed, I think, or arming speed or something. Because for the longest time, I thought
They actually have two stats. One is for laying speed, so the speed at which you throw them, and one is for arming speed because there's a delay before you can detonate them, and if you hit detonate in the time period before they're active, they don't actually detonate. And then the detonate button will go, "You have one mine active," and then you'll go, "I just pressed the detonate button." It was like, "No, no, no! You did not say the magic word and wait the designated time period."
No, no, no. You didn't
No,
say the
no,
word.
no. It's a Jurassic Park reference, and it's really old. I mostly get it.
I got
Oddly
it.
enough, I've seen the Jurassic Park meme more times watching Code Mint of all things because it's a joke in Code Mint, and I rewatch Code Mint like a lot of abridged anime series. I watch them like quasi religiously. It's a problem.
Quasi-religiously.
Like, so I've said I don't usually have game audio on, and I typically listen to like YouTube videos or podcasts or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of things that have a lot of runtime right now in terms of YouTube videos, and I have like 6 to 8 hours to fill. So I will routinely pop up playlists from people I am familiar with. So I watch Jim Sterling's Movie Boys.
Oh, there's this
and
oh, this reminds me. There's this Chinese guy that watches people make fried rice.
oh, that meme. Yeah, you shared it in whatchamacallit?
It's hilarious.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, the one with Gordon Ramsay.
Uh-huh.
What the secret to good rice is torture. Good fried rice is torture. I was just like, oh my gosh. There was another one I saw where there was like this BBC cooking channel. And, and she was like, the rice is looking good. And he was like, the rice is not looking good. Because there was like water, like literally on the top kernel still, just a thin layer. And then she was like, use a colander to strain a rice. She was like, if you're using a colander, you've messed up.
Just
like his leg went down, and he's like, "You shocked? This is so bad that my leg came down off the chair."
I have to sit up and lean forward to be able to deal with you right now.
Yes, exactly.
China.
Oh, it was so hilarious. I was just like, oh my gosh. It's right though. If
that screwed up the rest.
If you're having to strain your rice with a
Yep.
colander, you fucked up.
Hmm. At that point, you might as well throw it out because rice is cheap.
What was that,
Because
Annabelle?
you've already boiled it and you've boiled it too much. Yeah, you can strain it, but it's not going to have the right texture.
Oh yeah, and then and then she takes the rice right out of the colander and puts it right into the frying pan, and he was like, "Oh my god."
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. That sounds like something I would make when I'm like, I still want hot food, but I'm in like going into a depressive episode, and it's like rice. Rice is water and rice. I don't know how much. Throw water and rice in.
It either comes out crunchy or soggy.
If it comes out crunchy, I just add more water and I cook it again. If it comes out soggy, then you mash it up into mash. And it's mash.
Rice mash.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Still edible, especially if you add a little sugar.
I might disown you over that.
Look, there's a line between edible and what is like good, and it's like, look, somebody on Facebook said that posted a meme that said hot home cooked meals are for men who have a job, pay the bills, and don't cheat. The rest of you get hot dogs. And I went, oh, hey, hot dogs. That's better than an entire pound of pasta with butter and salt that I'm eating with last night's dirty fork. Meat's back on the menu, boys.
Meat's back on the menu.
It's like, yeah, you can do worse than just some 49-cent chicken and pork bar-S type hot dogs.
Oh darn it! I need intelligence. How much intelligence am I under by? 4 intelligence.
Yep, probably.
Oh, I have this amulet I can get rid of.
Yep.
I literally have an Arakutiki.
Rakutiki?
Arakutiki, yeah.
Why is Alt W not working?
I don't know. Because you're bugged out of existence?
Yes, I am. Alright, what's my resistances right now? Defense. 118. Okay, and that'll still be capped afterwards. 93. That's not going to be capped. And 80. That's not going to be capped afterwards. Okay. I'm going to turn that off because I don't have enough.
Oh, I can use a Malagario's Cruelty. That works with Malagaro's Cruelty. Malagaro's.
Yeah. You're,
I am bad at pronunciation, okay?
yeah.
And my head injury has not helped me at all.
Good point. Good point. I should not be as hard on you as I was back in our college days.
No, you should be as hard, but you know.
Okay, every single time you mess up a name in this, I'm going to go, you messed up the name.
I know.
Usually I don't, actually. The Praxis one was just me finally giving up and being like, you have butchered that name.
Yes, I know. That doesn't mean... I know I butcher it. I know I butcher it badly.
Okay, so this black guy with the wings, and that's not racist because he literally is pitch black. Black guy with the wings has a 3-letter name, and it's S-I-N. Can you say that?
Sin.
Ah, good.
Now
One right.
leave me alone. You're being mean.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Sometimes my humor gets mean.
Hey, you know what? It's fine. We know that Path of Exile is a racist game. You know why?
Why?
Because remember, Sin is burned at the stake for who he is, and he's black. By his brother, who is white.
Ooh, beef.
Purity and sin, obviously they're going for something here.
Yes, they did go for the black and white motif in coloring. And, yeah.
They did it on purpose. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean it is a yeah.
Okay. So here's the question.
Uh-huh. What's your question?
No, here's the dilemma.
What's the dilemma?
Should I run a Blade Vortex in... Should I buy a Vol Blade Vortex, right?
Uh-huh.
Unless you have one. And run the Blade...
I know, there might be one in the guild stash, I can check. Everybody's typically been just throwing their Val gems in the guild stash. But yeah, do you Val Blade Vortex or what?
And run a normal Blade Vortex in an offhand and the switch slot, and then chance the normal Blade Vortex with a double corrupt in the temple of Akasawaddle.
I mean,
at level 20. And hope for like a 23% quality level 21 Vol.
Well, it would need to be level 20 and quality 20 in order to do that. Get that corruption. Because the corruption is not a set. The corruption is an add or subtract.
I know.
How are you going to get... Oh. You mean level 20 as the gem rather than level 20 as as a character? Because I'm thinking, how are you gonna get a gem to do the double corrupt as a level 20 character? How
even a level
found incursions at level 20? What?
I have a Vol Blade Vortex. Okay, so I don't need one. I have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're probably actually better off selling the double corrupt chamber if you get a double corrupt chamber, and then seeing what's available out on the market. And we will probably want to go do some delves. I can push delve depth. Even though totems are kind of crap for pushing delve depth. We can do some delving because delve has delve allows for the glorious triple corrupt.
Triple corrupt?
Yeah, so you can get Val as well as... Because Val is a corruption.
Yeah.
It can go Val. It can go +1 level -2 to -2 levels. +1 to -2 as a corruption. And it can go +3 quality to -6 quality, -7 quality as a corruption. So even with the double corrupt chamber, you either get a 21-23 corrupted Blade Vortex that's not Vol, or you get either the level or the quality with a ball, if your double corrupt is successful.
Yeah, I
In
want a
order to
Vol and a level, so a level 21 Vol Blade Vortex.
Right.
Because it's a spell.
Now, deep in Delve, gem rooms allow basically gems to generate with as many corruptions as it decides it wants to give
I
to
used to hunt your
gems.
kind.
Bye.
So
Fate awaits.
you want to do the gems, and you want to do the like miscellaneous abyssal kind of ones, where it's like you go down and you open the random chests in
See
the
ya.
little basement that it opens at the end of the thing. You know those ones? Yeah, and you want to hope for gem chests, because the gems chests out of those are the same as the ones in gem nodes, and they allow for the potential, at least, at sufficient depth that it decides we like corruptions, and it will decide we like corruptions a lot. So then it will start giving you double corrupted gems, or at least have a probability of dropping double corrupted gems, and eventually it has a probability of dropping like triple corrupted gems. And we'd probably need to get pretty deep. Like we're talking
Probably
like,
deeper than I've ever done before.
I believe I've gone down to like 400 before, and I believe that would be enough. But at that point, it's basically identical to running.
So there's a cheap way to get +1 to all like chaos or fire spell skill gems.
The recipe.
Yeah, there isn't a recipe anymore for it.
Oh yeah, they removed the recipe. They made it give
Item
damage.
level 2 wands.
Huh. Okay. And you just alt spam on them?
Yeah, because the mod pool is extremely low, but +1 to leveled all skill gems is in that pool.
Oh, okay. Right. Interesting. So yeah, if you care about the quality, and I'm not sure quality matters so much, but
I don't care about the quality. I'm more interested in the level.
Typically you can get double corrupted gems. It's not super expensive. It depends on how meta your gem choice is later in League, for like roughly the cost of a double corrupt, because people find them, and then people there's a lot of people who, if they had a 21 vol gem, would like to trade it for a double corrupt room because they want to double corrupt some GG item like a headhunter, and risking a double corrupt on a headhunter is very much worth the like 1 exalt price of that they could trade their
come on.
thing for.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, RNG.
So like most things with RNG-based crafting, you want to sell the ability to do the craft rather than trying the craft yourself, unless it is an item that you think you will actually like legitimately have a use for, because if you are going to have a legitimate use for it in a way that significantly benefits your production of more
Currency.
chaos exalts currency, then that's a good effect. That's also
Darn
like
it.
a side effect of
I should have just taken the taken the accuracy.
You have an accuracy problem?
No. The issue was I grabbed 2 level 2 wands, right? And I landed +1 to all chaos skill gems on both of them, right? Within like 10 alteration orbs, right? I was like, cool. So I augmented both of them, and one gave me fire resist, and the other one gave me accuracy. I run a spell, so accuracy is totally useless. So I was
Right.
like, well, I did it in very few alts, so I'm going to go ahead and alt it
Just alt
again.
it.
Yeah. And I burned through 70 more alts and didn't get one.
Yeah, that's welcome to crafting, and it's also why you don't try to craft for profit generally, unless you're using other people's money,
Mm-hmm.
or it's something that you might actually use. Like I would not try to craft a 700 PDPS two-hand axe or something right now in this league because I have no plans to have a character that would use a physical damage axe, two-hand weapon. I mean, one of those would sell for a lot, sure, but if I fail or I only get like a 450 DPS one or something, it's like that's not going to help me.
Yeah.
Just need a moment.
So
to
it's
catch my breath.
it's literally gambling when you're crafting for profit on things you're not potentially going to use
An
yourself.
amazing creature.
Well,
was
I was
born with
using-
$10
I'm
billion,
using this
so it's a shame
myself.
to kill it.
Right, yeah. But you don't necessarily always want to roll over something. I mean, I've gotten to the point in which anytime I am crafting for myself, I buy 2 bases so that I roll 1 base until it feels good enough that I'm not sure I want to roll over it, and then I start rolling the other base. And that's basically what you just did. But
I want to dual wield the wands.
oh, you want to dual wield the wands?
Yeah.
Well, then yeah, screwed up.
Yep, I screwed up.
Yeah, you should have bought a third one.
Well, there
Third
was
base,
not a
half
third one at 12% increase at spell damage, which was the maximum you can get on a level 2. So,
You couldn't buy a third one?
no, there wasn't a third one with a max.
Oh, okay. I could have given you a blessed orb. 2 blessed orbs, actually.
I have like 20 blessed orbs, so I was just being stupid. So, it's fine.
Because I bet it only actually goes between like 8 and 12 or something. So
Yes.
it's like a 25% on a blessed orb. Or
Yes.
20%.
It could have easily been rolled. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
But
about,
yeah.
but I've already burned all of my alteration orbs. So
Yep. So it wouldn't even matter if you got another another one right now because you only have one right now, and you have one that's bricked right now. So you might as well continue re-rolling the bricked one.
Yeah.
Do you want smalls?
how many alts do you have?
Let me check my stash when I go to Act 10, which is right now. Welcome to Act 10. Here is the Not a Pirate. Here is the Not a Pirate.
Not a pirate.
Who might be a pirate. Anyway, talk to people who have
But not in
exclamation
the
points
pirate league.
and
Not in
okay.
our gold league that we've made up. She's not a pirate.
Alterations. I have, I believe, 51 alterations, but I might have a few more once I dump some stuff in my stash. Dumping, and dumping, and the dumping is complete, and no blue transmutes. I have 54 alterations.
I will take them.
Okie dokie. They are yours. Once I sell some other.
Because I am trying to craft that low level
Just need a
wand.
moment to catch my breath.
Because that'll help my that'll help everything except for my blade vortex, actually.
Energy shield, critical strike chance, magic. but only tier 3 energy shield on this abyss shield, so it's still worth it. Yeah, you're not running traps, are you?
No, I'm not.
Do you have the remote?
Yes.
Jumps.
Hey, Jing. Come on, right here. Come on.
Useless.
Come on up.
Back to the start. Back to extreme needs, which is not actually extreme needs.
Hopefully that's not picking up.
I realize I don't have a place to put a flame jack. I haven't even been watching my live search, and it hasn't popped up anything anymore. Okay. Passive. Tree 1 point goes there. Good boy. And then teleport to you. And then it's a new trade request. And then boom, boom, boom. And then accept. And then there you go. And then portal out. Oh, I guess I could use... No, I can't use waypoint if I'm not in town.
You okay if mommy goes outside for a minute?
Slash hideout.
Look, if you need me to shout, say mama. Okay?
No.
No. And
What's
then go
my
get drink so I can take my medicine.
ruler? These are extra. Oh, I'm thinking actually, what people were thinking of doing is jumping between waypoints and seeing if a smuggler's cache popped up on their mini-map, and if it did, opening the smuggler's cache. Because sometimes you can pop into a waypoint and you see a smuggler's cache. But if you just hold control and you start going through waypoints, I mean, the reload time is minimal, even if it takes 10 or 15 reloads to get you a smuggler's cache.
I have not.
That's like 4 minutes. So it's faster than, might even be faster than clearing Harbor Bridge back and forth.
Sarah is sorry that she is not watching. She decided to slam her head into the back of a brick wall. Concrete wall.
No. I slammed the back of my head into a concrete pillar.
She slammed the back of her head into a concrete pillar.
Happy while I go potty and then
Why? Was this
Yes,
deliberate?
why? Yes, I can keep an eye on him.
Because I was distracted by, I don't know, fucking mom?
Because she was distracted?
Oh, okay. So it was accidental.
Yes.
Okay.
I want
Good.
alteration orbs. How much do alteration orbs trade for?
I have no idea.
1 to
Money?
7. That's fine.
How much are these wands
This
worth?
shred's
Because
awesome.
you might
What?
actually be better off just buying one of these wands.
Yeah, I know. At this point, I
You will
probably
be
will.
remembered.
Saying I've
And
blown
the other thing
through.
about crafting is that half the time somebody else probably put it on the market, and you can just buy it instead of trying to gamble on it. And usually the price is
Cheaper?
comparable or cheaper, yeah, because somebody like gets it as a drop and throws it in a 2 chaos tab or something.
Mm-hmm. Where is wand? Wand.
What's the best flask for enduring?
For eternal?
Eternal?
Yep.
Enduring, eternal. So not divine. Eternal. So now there's one that's better off with the shorter duration because it gives you all the mana at the end, and one's better with the longer duration, because the longer duration lasts forever, and I want the one that lasts forever, so I need the longer duration. Because I need mana regen. Nobody's business, especially if I'm going to actually be running Purity of Elements, but I realized I didn't click that I was going to be running endurance charges. So I'm actually, whenever I have endurance charges up, I may actually have max resistances even without Purity of Elements. I don't know, because the build supposedly runs a level 20 Purity of Elements. Because, might as well, because it's percentage mana reservation and it's not actually based off of the effects. So.
These are not even up for sale.
Oh, they're not even up for sale. Okay. Well then, that's a anti-feature. Okay. You can go, yeah, gotta make one, I guess.
So essentially what happened is I was playing with the baby and I got a little distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw my head back like I do that before I tickle him.
Yeah.
And when I threw my head back, there was this hard, sharp, pointy object behind my head.
Mm-hmm.
It did not feel good. What? Mike, you're not streaming, right?
I am totally streaming. And you can be seen.
Seriously?
I don't know, actually.
Can you check?
No, you cannot be seen.
Sounds about rip off my... Can you pause your video for me? I need to get to the body. And you pausing is easier than me.
Ding 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 dong long ding yang dong long. You messed up in game. I didn't hear what you just said. Yes, I still love her. Yep. I mean, it's even set up to save past broadcasts, so I mean, you can look that up later if you want. 14 days, make a clip out of it, save it as a clip.
Mike, turn this off. Me and my boy. Coffee's so cute! Okay, please tell me you're not streaming yet, because
I'm streaming.
to have a very hard night.
I...
Oh my god, I'm dying! Oh my god, he's so cute! I can't these minutes, I feel like I'm
What's going on?
Sarah is adoring over a cute baby.
Don't tell me she has a concussion too.
She thinks she does.
See ya.
What?
A concussion? You think you have a concussion?
What did the doctor literally say? Anything with symptoms.
Is a concussion, yes.
Anything
Oh my
what?
gosh, you're so cute.
Yes.
Any symptoms? Any symptoms after hitting your head is considered a concussion.
Well, not any symptoms. If your legs start spontaneously bleeding after hitting your head, it's probably not a concussion.
Oh my god. Oh my
Nope,
god.
it's definitely a
Oh
concussion.
wait. Can Chris handle me when I'm pregnant? I don't
No.
think you can handle me when I'm pregnant.
No, he can't.
We need a backup plan. We can't
Oh,
hold Uncle Chris for a while, baby boy.
I can handle her when she's pregnant. It just involves some fair amount of stress on me. And
Where's the phone?
He said he can
Occasion-
handle you.
When I'm pregnant.
occasionally telling her to shut the fuck up.
Mhm.
She thinks he can handle me when I'm pregnant.
Yes.
Is he high?
Yes.
I'm always high. You know
He's
the list of
always
medications
high.
they have me
That
on?
would make a lot of sense right now. And
He's
it has
always
to be
high,
something
actually.
A lot stronger than
Yeah, I
weed.
mean, have you seen the medications I am on?
No, I haven't seen the
I am
medications
on
you're
a
on.
lot of medications. I mean, I'm still on the Lyrica. I have the tramadol script for just whenever I need it. I mean, I'm on an antihistamine for allergic reactions that cause my eyes to itch, but it's an antihistamine that's more commonly used because it puts people to sleep after they've had surgeries. My dad had it, actually. And it was what put him to sleep as he was actually having allergic reactions to the stitches that they had in him.
Mhm.
First time the surgeon for the gastric bypass had ever actually seen somebody have the allergic reaction, even though he had had people claim they had had allergic reaction before. So it was like, if you would have told me you were allergic, I wouldn't have believed you because people claimed it before. But no, you're actually allergic to the stitch material we used. Interesting. So he actually had to get all his sutures removed and replaced. But
Fun.
he was on the antihistamine I'm on now to knock him out so that he could sleep
I do not.
while he
Be careful.
was having
Need
that
something?
allergic reaction with the incredibly itchy open wound sutures that were not healing because it was also an allergic reaction going on at the same time.
Stinker.
But he could
I
sleep
am not
from the
good.
side effects of this stuff. It doesn't affect me.
Stinker.
So I'm on the Lyrica. I take that whenever I have an issue.
Who's this stinker?
I take a lot of over-the-counter painkillers whenever I have a headache. I'm on a whole bunch of high blood pressure medicine. I have the tramadol script as needed. I have a few
Oh
other
my gosh!
things mentally screwy, but mentally screwy. I'm on psych meds, so I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm clearing out
Medicated
my
Chris
one
is
chaos.
not the same as unmedicated Chris.
I'm clearing out my one chaos tab because
And shoving stuff into your butt where it disappears.
yes,
The spirit
Crunch.
and crunches into alteration orbs.
But immense seismic level pressures
Mm-hmm.
inside your butt.
Yes, my rectum creates very high pressures.
stay true to you.
Yeah, I don't even have a one chaos tab. I have a two chaos tab, but it currently only has fossils in it because I have some fossils.
Actually, I could probably fossil craft a +1 chaos on it fairly easily with an aberrant fossil.
Yeah, but the gem fossils actually are expensive. So
No. More chaos modifiers? The +1 to chaos gems have the
right,
chaos
you want
modifiers.
chaos. You just need aberrants. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a single slot incubator at the moment?
No, I do not. Because I don't do delve. Because I don't care for delve. I actually do not like delve.
I got these fossils from a heist. You can get fossils from heist.
Yes, I know. All the fossils I have, which I have aberrant fossils, I've gotten from heists.
Why do you not like Delve?
Why do I not like Delve?
Why do you not like Delve?
Because I just don't like Delve.
Whatever.
I'm
More
just.
Delve for me.
I just really
Yeah.
don't care for Delve. If you want to take all of my volcanic sulfite scarabs and stuff and run Delve all the time, be my
Yeah.
guest. Use all of my quests. I will gladly give it to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Delve has specific rewards that once you understand them are actually pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like the trick
Like
road.
most things are, but it's just not content I really enjoy.
That's weird.
I don't like being stuck on
Be kind if you can.
the path, if that
Oh.
makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense. I mean, that's to me it's silly because even if you're doing heists are nearly single direction layouts. I mean, there's some rooms where
My
there's
help is yours.
you can either go the long way around or the short way around, but
Stay true to
it's
you.
not really.
I greet you.
It's like it generates a level, and the level is basically point A to point B with fairly little variation. And I mean, even most maps are pretty much point A to point B kind of maps. And I just like Delve because it has the lowest amount of time necessary per run because
yeah.
you don't have to loot along the way. And you can just instantly click the crawler and go, I want to do another one.
Can you
And it will
get
do another
me a poison gem?
I greet
what?
you.
A poison gem? Support gem?
There is a poison support gem. There is a lesser poison and a regular poison. And there's a vile toxins, and there's a few actually.
Yes, I know. I want poison. I want the normal
want
poison.
one?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Sorry, you were talking at the same time as I was kind of ranting.
Yes, I want one.
Okay. You want me to buy it for you?
Yes, please.
I see. Okay. Let me... Why am I just randomly running through levels? I don't actually need to be here. Why did I just do that level? Okay. You want... Yeah, because I just need to go to the quarry. Anyway, you want me to go to Lions of the Lodge in Act 6 and get a poison support from Lily.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
And purchase items. We tab for green supports. Poison support requires level 31.
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah, level 31. Okay, is there anything else you need while I'm here?
Void manipulation.
Remember to live.
Support.
Void manip. Okay. Is there anything else you need while I'm here?
Nope, that's it.
I actually just found a night blade, but not sure if that's even useful.
Not for me.
Night blade.
Crossing.
Yep. Wait, did I just get a second Giant's Bane? It's my second duplicate unique this week. that one's worse. And they are worth nothing. Okay. So, you. Two items. Give me 9 alteration shards. Shut up, Alexa. I didn't say anything. Who you're having trouble because there is no Wi-Fi in the basement. Oh, it's because I went to the waypoint and then I went directly into the belly of the beast, thinking that's what I was doing, but I actually have to go over here to the save a young from Kira who's resurrecting Garkan.
I actually have a high level blade vortex. Okay, let's see how this runs. Okay. Where's my wither step? Where's Blade Bearer?
Just need a moment to catch my breath. Low on mana.
My Thieves' Torment doesn't give me anything more. I'm having to run my rings again.
Oh no, your wife is just saying she's like extra super psycho when she's pregnant, and I'm like, I know. And she's like, you can't deal with this, and I'm like, I have been given permission to fight your psycho with my own brand of
Psycho?
slightly psycho. I'm like, as long as I think it was basically so long as you don't hurt the baby, it's cool. So it's like, okay. Which, yeah, means, yeah, you might be getting tied to the bed while you're asleep so that I can go out and just do things outside. So, and have a little bit of me time, because me time is important.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, you can't have me time. It's like, oh no, I can have me time. You're not going to give me time. I'm going to take my me time. Because that is how I know this will have to work. Yeah, this build is supposed to use elemental focus for damage, but honestly, because I do a lot of cold damage, I actually really like
Just need
having
a
the
moment
cold
to
damage,
catch my breath.
because between the cold damage and the knockback, I'm crowd controlling a lot of stuff for most of the time it exists. Like this Kira's Garukan fight, it's like I just have to get hit once to let her come out of stealth, and then it's like she's stunned until she hard phases into a stealth phase again. And it's like, ugh.
Well, that's good.
Because between the knockback and the chill reducing the movement speed and the potential for frozen, and I was even freezing her as a boss for a bit there, even though
Glacial
freezing
Cascade.
boss is supposed to be hard.
Yeah, Glacial Cascade does that too.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, I'm just gonna keep with using faster attacks because it's the best green DPS
Do you
gem other than
assassins offer a money-back
Barrage,
guarantee,
which
Shadow?
apparently feels awful to use because it actually slows your attack damage and it doesn't give you as much spread. So don't use Barrage and use faster attacks.
Well done, assassin.
We just hit them a
Another
lot.
satisfied customer.
And because it actually reduces the time from totem being placed to totem making first
Malachi
attack,
who reached
because when they're first placed, they have to do their attack wind up animation, because it's actually wind up animation to attack if they don't attack instantly,
I'm
Yeah.
working with
and then cooldown. So
That sounds even
the
stranger
faster
when I
you
say
can
it
make
out
that
loud.
animation, the more responsive the totems feel for dropping the totems and shooting,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice. So faster attacks, great support gem. Love it. I mean, technically I could get 10% more DPS if I decided to forego the chilling, but I don't really have another way to chill things. So I like crowd control. Crowd control makes the game easier.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons I was doing. Thought about doing Withering. I mean, Chill, Creeping Frost.
Oh, yeah.
You can get that to the point where it's freezing bosses.
Mm-hmm.
I just decided against it. Do I have a flame dash? I do not have a flame dash.
Hmm.
I will go buy a flame dash.
Oh my god, Michael.
Yeah.
You have to check Messenger like now.
Why do I have to check Messenger
check
right
it.
now? Okay.
Oh, come on, that's fun. That's totally you, too.
What is? I will not feed my kids such spicy foods. Yeah, it's salt.
I thought you're a fool for seeking. I thought you're a fool for seeking.
Mr. Flame Dash, where are you? Mr. Flame Dash. What? I don't want a level 8 Flame Dash.
While we live, we are blessed.
Sometimes it's the subtle onion political articles that really make it happen. Sometimes it's the subtle ones. But we can't talk politics.
We can talk politics.
No, you're not allowed to talk politics.
I'm allowed to talk politics.
You're not allowed to talk politics.
I'm allowed to talk politics.
Could you grab me my
Ask
headphones?
Sarah if you're allowed to talk politics.
Sarah, am I allowed to talk politics?
If you can grab me my headphones.
Yeah, I can grab you your
I
headphones.
want to put one of them in so I can watch you guys without an echo.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I haven't been watching you guys.
Alright, give me a second. Where are your headphones?
Okay, so that's not picking up even as loud as my fart. Okay, good. Good to know. Good to know. My fart louder than the dehumidifier. That's the word. I was going to say air dehydrator, which is, I mean, technically what it is. It does, in fact, dehydrate air, but oh, man, I got another big map. Yappy map. Hold the control button. Even there. Cards. There. And you actually get sold. Money. So items. So that's it. Where am I supposed to go now? Back to the cathedral rooftop and then down. Dang, he must be really excited about wanting to talk politics again. Whatever. Mike, by the way, person I'm talking to, who also streams on Fat Troll Gaming with underscores in between it. So fat underscore troll underscore gaming here on Twitch. Has had a head injury, and he's not supposed to get stressed out because stress and some other things tend to aggravate his problems with brain damage because he had a concussion and he's currently going through post-concussion syndrome, which is not fun. Who knows how much of his brain function will return? You can tell he's still, a functional human being for a certain definition of functional. He's playing Path of Exile. If you can play Path of Exile, might as well make that the Turing test. If you can play Path of Exile, you're intelligent. Bam. I have fixed AI. It's not conversational. It's whether you can play Path of Exile. And beat for the laughter from chat. Chat makes up something, and I go, "Yeah, chat, that's funny," and then I repeat it for the rest of the audience. Okay, and yeah, welcome to dress reversal because there's nobody actually in chat right now. But what I can do is, even though there's nobody in chat, I can be like, "Oh, I'm going to anticipate, and I'm going to do it." But so he's not allowed to be stressed, and he usually is a very politically active person. But we live in the United States, and politics, current politics in the United States being what they are, for a politically active person engaging in politics at this time is, one could argue, inherently stressful. So he has been basically banned from politics because of the stress and because of a few other things. But Right now, he's in a pretty controlled environment at his computer, playing Path of Exile. So, oh, hey, you're back. Indeed, I am a dork. I'm playing Path of Exile. Well, you just heard me talking to myself because you didn't actually make a funny in chat that I could repeat for the rest of chat and go, haha, yeah. See, that's the problem actually with having one chat person who's like personally friends with you. I mean, the channel tools say, "Oh, hey, I've got another viewer," but that viewer is not currently speaking in chat. So I have no idea who they are or what they like about the stream or don't like about the stream or if they're even a bot because
All right, I'm back.
they're also watching Mike's stream right now. They're also in the chat room. I can tell because I am a moderator on Mike's stream. And I'm guessing it might be a channel that's set up just to give people who play Path of Exile more views.
Something
But
like that.
Mike's back, and
Take care.
it's a little quiet on my end, but that's fine. My dehumidifier is also running. That's why there's a little more white noise in the background.
Yeah.
Your mic's quiet, babe.
My mic is quiet.
Oh, you're biting me,
You're a little quiet for me. Yeah.
What is it?
It's like you may have bumped it or changed position. Are you like sitting back in your chair compared to
What about now?
earlier this morning? Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, I just have the mic positioned incorrectly.
Yeah, that's really the part of the problem with having a desk layout for streaming is that your streaming desk needs to never change.
So I just realized something.
What?
I haven't picked up any of the skill point rewards from Act 1.
You haven't picked up the books from the thing, or you haven't done the quest?
I haven't picked up the
Oh,
books.
you just haven't turned them in for the books. So you've been sitting on like 7 skill points potentially that you could have, or
Yes.
something like that.
I'm going back to all the towns and collecting my skill points because I've just been running and not
Right.
coming back and collecting skill
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. It's good to get your skill points not just from leveling, because everybody remember that at end game you're going to have 121 to 123, maybe 125, or even 127 different skill points available to you. I can explain the difference between where you're going to get all of those numbers, but that number is greater than the level cap, which is level 100, by a number that is over 20, and those all come from your quests. So remember, there's 2 to 3 skill points per act on average that come from the books that you need to get from turning in optional quests.
Mm-hmm.
Mike here has not gotten the books, done the quests, but if you don't talk to the people in town,
Just need a moment
you
to
don't
catch
complete
my
the
breath.
quest and you don't get the book.
No, you don't get the book.
GGG decided they weren't just going to give it to you automatically upon doing the task, getting quest completion. It's more like an actual RPG in that sense. You have to go back to the NPC and go, yeah, dude, I completed your quest. The NPC has to confirm that you killed 10 boars or, I don't know, successfully neutered 17 of the local wolf population by presenting him with all of the testicles or something weird like that. I mean, everybody here should probably know what RPG fetch quests are like. So, yeah, it's just you have to turn it back in. And part of the problem is just to go forwards, you usually don't have to turn anything in.
Oh, yeah, you
But-
don't have to turn anything in at all. Or talk to anyone to get the quests.
Oh, what? Sarah says, Kiki, I loves you. Ugh, fine, bye. What, Sarah? Did I not read chat? I will say, this is my second stream, Sarah.
Of all time.
Of all time. So I'm not very good at reading chat at the same time as playing the game. I mean,
I'm still getting used to that.
yeah. I mean, it might be better if I had like chat on screen on the same screen, but I know. And I mean, I guess I could downscale POE so it doesn't take up my entire monitor and then stick it next to it, or make up
Actually,
some
if you're using OBS Streamlabs, you could have an overlay.
Yeah, will it? Yeah, but does that actually show on the same monitor?
Yep.
Or is that just
Shows
through
in-game.
OBS? Oh, that's useful.
I don't use it because OBS Streamlabs plugin is very finicky of whether or not it shows actual chat messages.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it is an option. And it does work.
Yeah.
And you can control the transparency, so how much it
Right.
bugs you.
Right. I didn't realize that was not just a insert scene in OBS and that actually showed up on your monitor as you were looking at it. Interesting.
Oh, you can do it as an insert so
Just
that
need a moment to catch my breath.
people can see it nice and clearly as an overlay.
Right.
But then you can have a faded out transparent version of it
Ah, okay.
as an overlay you set up in a different setting.
Right. And it would be on your screen and you'd be doing window capture instead of capture for the thing so they wouldn't see it. Right.
Right.
Right. So you just, translucent popped out Twitch chat. Right. So you could, keep track of it. But
That's what I did for a first couple ones, but I hated how it wasn't very accurate and it was very delayed.
laggy. Yeah.
And so I was like, screw this, I'll just make the effort to
Good point. She says she's just giving me crap, and I'm like, good point. I should have realized you were still in the chat room, so you were still probably listening to me, and I should have been like,
Do you
no,
assess
she didn't
and offer a
actually
money
walk
back
off
guarantee,
like she
Shadow?
was threatening to. That's what it sounded like. I have lost a lot of social awareness skills just from lack of practice because lockdown.
Another satisfied customer.
But anyway, you're allowed to talk politics again, and so the politics onion thing that I was laughing at was just a caption on an image, on a photoshopped image that says Mitt Romney retires to fainting couch after suggesting Trump may be acting ignobly. Because he did say that.
Yes.
Because if you haven't followed the news, somebody actually directly asked Trump, will you commit to a peaceful transition of power regardless of what the results of the election are? And for reasons known only to Trump, he did not give an explicit, firm yes.
Well, this election is going to be...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, regardless of what a... See, the problem is, regardless of what you mean by a peaceful transition of power, regardless of the elections, it's oh God, now she's chatting to me in another thing,
Just need
and
a
I don't
moment
have
to catch my breath.
my chat open, and it's like, oh, law. I've got to switch between the Facebook thing and the chat for. Oh no, and I'm being killed by a single skeleton that didn't have any modifiers. Oh no! I died to myself. Anyway, basically, he did not say yes, and it's like, okay, he did not say yes. That's not good optics. It's not good optics. I mean, even if you say yes and then are like, okay, I'm going to use every available legal challenge to me, but I mean, that's peaceful. So it's like that would still fall under the definition of I am committing to a peaceful transition of power.
Oh yeah,
do
I know,
stop
but
mumbling.
here's the issue, right?
Yeah.
The issue is that they are already saying that he's planning a coup because he will use legal means to steal the election away from Biden. That's what the media is running with, right? And they're describing using legal
Small
means
potatoes.
as a
Yeah,
coup.
but see, the problem is when literally directly asked that question, he did not give an unequivocal yes. And by his own definitions, using legal means is a peaceful transition of power and
I
not
don't
a
know much
coup.
about
So
art,
he should
but I know
have
what I
given
like.
an unequivocal yes. And then, I mean, maybe they asked, oh, hey, are you going to use legal challenges? And it's like, if I deem them warranted, yes, that is a part of peaceful transitions of power, is making sure that elections are in fact valid in every way, and that can involve getting courts involved to make sure that the results of the election are in fact valid.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, see, the problem is that
For
is a
someone so obsessed
non-party
with looks,
line thing.
that
Like
wasn't a pretty death.
if a Democratic president said, yeah, I said all of those things, or a Republican president said all of those things, both sides as people would probably go, yeah, that's good. That's very presidential. But I'm not sure why Trump didn't just say yes. I mean, I know Trump doesn't speak words good when Trump isn't talking about himself and how great he is.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
He has a hard time speaking the words good without devolving into something that sounds a lot like narcissism. Or talking about how hot his daughter is, which is still weird and creepy.
Embrace the future.
Ooh, I wonder if Joe Biden will creep on Ivanka.
Low on mana.
Juicy. That'd be a scandal.
So I just almost killed Malachi. I hard capped him to 1 hit point with my poison blade vortex.
Now, let us see if you truly understand what it means to
So
be.
yeah, that was the thing with Trump, and then
Oh yeah, I've read about it. So
yeah, the two Republicans that I actually kind of respect, i.e. Mitt Romney and Senator Grassley, who I believe his first name is Charles, but he gets called Chuck.
oh, Chuck.
Oh, Senator Grassley's an interesting person, but he has some positions I definitely agree with, even if they're not necessarily positions that everyone might agree with. But he's been a huge campaigner for budget accountability in Washington, to the point at which I believe he's on the Appropriations Committee, specifically because he wants to be on the Appropriations Committee. Because he likes dealing with appropriations. He's I'm not sure he cares so much about the power of and prestige of being on the Appropriations Committee, even though the Appropriations Committee is one of the more powerful and prestigious committees in Congress, in either house, and the Senate one is more powerful than the House one. But it's like
Where you are needed.
he actually cares about appropriations, and he led the charge on the audit bill, and he's been trying to lead
I
the
was
charge
right
on
to-
actually inflicting the punishment that the audit law says should be inflicted upon the DoD for failing to actually get an audit through.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anyone who's willing to take on entrenched DoD interests on the basis of saving money and not just go, we're going to give the government infinite dollars because, I don't know, we want the military to have infinite dollars, is like, that's a good position in my book. It's like, we're going to give you the money, but if we give you the money for a purpose, we want to make sure you're actually going to use that money for that purpose, and you're not going to fudge the books and go, oh yeah, totally, we were going to do that within 2 years, and we used all the money to do that within 2 years, and yeah, we're good. And then you look at it, and it's like, the program has not even started. How have you used all the money? What?
Mm-hmm.
But it's built that way. They have deliberately built systems that way to shovel money around in ways that are, if done by a human knowingly, are felonies, but
She's in here.
they do it through a lot of cutouts. But anyway, Grassley's campaigning on that has been generally a pretty good notch in my book. So he's one of the few, like, Republicans I definitely respect as people knowing their positions. Not that there's very many Republicans that I know the positions of explicitly,
What?
other than him and Rand Paul. But anyway,
If you're okay
So,
with
yeah.
it, I'm okay with it. We do have to get up early.
She has to get up here.
Mm-hmm. I said we, as in me and her, and baby boy.
Come lay on this pillow right next to Mom.
that was to Sarah, right?
Yeah, that was to Sarah.
Yeah, and the other thing is that
You like Romney because he voted to impeach Trump?
as a Republican, Romney, I don't. Look, Romney is a fairly boring moderate conservative, and it's like, I'd rather have him than Trump or anyone like the people running in New York who are like, we are Trump stans. We love Trump so much that if Trump was not the best happily married person, I'd probably be having his babies right now. And it's like, you people are weird.
Mm-hmm.
And you're running for Congress on that basis. Just, I am the biggest Trump fan ever.
It works.
Yeah, it works, but cults of personality are also generally
Not good.
not good for the functioning of most governments.
She seemed to really want to be in here.
And it's something that I've been aware of with Trump, and it's something that's been a thing for a while with me. I mean, it's the reason why I didn't vote Hillary, because I'm not a fan of trying to make a Clinton dynasty a thing, because I don't believe in dynastic politics in
General.
Just need a moment
yeah,
to
in
catch
general,
my breath.
especially in democracies. So, like, you want to explicitly say we're going to have a dynasty that's going to be in power, okay, but don't try to sheathe it in democracy and be like, oh yeah, they're voting for us every single time. And it's like, are you really that popular, or are you just like the family name and the option that's endorsed by your family, and people are like, oh yeah, I knew your your dad was a good person. I mean, okay, I'll vote for you.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Oh gosh,
To me, that's kind of dumb. You really shouldn't vote for people based on name alone.
Oh, but that's what people do.
Oh, it's just what people do. I mean, sure. I mean, there's a reason why Ted Kennedy was a senator up until his death. And despite with two of his brothers having his only two brothers having been assassinated due to politics, it's like had a bunch of name recognition, and nobody wanted to go up against the Kennedy family in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of dynasties in general because I've seen what happens in some places when the dynasties start getting disturbed, like the Gandhi dynasty in India, because Gandhi was assassinated, and then his wife or daughter became prime minister. I think his daughter became prime minister, and then she was assassinated. There's been a lot of political violence regarding the influence of the Gandhi family, specifically in India,
Mm-hmm.
and their views on secularism in India. And I'm like, as much as people can love your dynasty, people can hate your dynasty, specifically because they want change and they associate you with like the old ways. And I'd rather, in keeping with the whole term limits thing, I'd rather just kind of keep everybody on the same kind of even footing.
Yeah.
But the other thing is the Breonna Taylor grand jury
Came back with nothing.
Basically nothing. Yes, one very minor charge for one officer.
Oh, it wasn't related to Breonna Taylor, though.
The discharging a firearm in the wrong.
Nope, that was due to the neighbor. Because the bullets went into the neighbor's apartment.
Right. But, I mean, it was part of the same incident. It just wasn't directly related to Breonna Taylor herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they've like, have you looked at any of the documents?
Not directly, no.
So it's really interesting that you know how they were saying she was killed in her bed?
Mm-hmm.
She was not in her bed. She was in the hallway. And they did knock and announce themselves multiple times for like, I believe it was like for over 15 minutes they were banging on her door.
Huh. That's weird.
And that isn't police statements alone. That is the neighbors of Breonna Taylor, because they came out and were like, "What's going on?" And the police were like, "Get back into your apartment." So,
I mean, it was a no-knock warrant, so I guess.
Yeah, no, it was a no-knock warrant, but the officer on, the commanding officer on duty decided to knock, to make an announcement, because it was late at night, and felt like she was expected to be there alone, and she was a woman, so they didn't want to just bust in on her,
right?
If that makes sense. So they made a point to just change it from no knock to a knock and announce.
Well, I mean, you can still it's still a warrant that allows you to enter the property so long as you're announced without necessarily actually having direct, like, acknowledgement of the people who are there that you're also there, which is, I mean, probably why they got shot at.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's
But
the interaction between self-defense castle doctrine and law enforcement, especially with the way law enforcement
Just need
tends
a
to
moment to catch my breath.
oh, I agree. We should get rid of no-knock warrants. Like,
right.
that doesn't change anything as far as my opinion on that.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it
no.
does change the situation and what people are upset about.
I mean, I think really the problem is that justice for Breonna Taylor is not going to be served by indicting the cops for murder. Because if you think that, you're still thinking small-mindedly, because if it happens again, it doesn't change the system. It can happen again, and then it would require another indictment and another set of things, another
Well, it's the
grand jury to
rules
sit.
as is, and so first, if you don't change the rules, right, and you
Right.
indict them on murder, you're basically telling cops if you do your job, you will either get, fired or you will get charged for murder. And that's just part of your job requirement now, is to get placed into these situations and deal with it.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
presumably
bad.
that would create policies would be created to avoid that stuff happening because of the court ruling, but really you don't want a court ruling and then people to change their policy out of fear of another similar court ruling, unless the court ruling is extremely well detailed on what new policy should be, because then you're left with the same kind of patchwork policy problem. And it's like, no, justice for Breonna Taylor is going to be nationwide systemic reforms that go, okay, this is how every police department in the nation needs to set out their justification for a warrant, needs to perform a warrant, how they need to interact with the knowledge.
So the Breonna Taylor Act by Ron Paul.
Rand Paul, you mean?
Rand Paul, yeah, not Ron Paul. Rand Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem with Rand Paul is that while he's a Republican, not all of his things that he suggests actually have broad GOP support as well.
Well, that's
So
because
it's
he's a libertarian.
Yeah, and he's very outspokenly libertarian, and he's gone against several GOP proposals because of his libertarian
Just
views.
need a moment
And
to catch my breath.
he doesn't have. The problem is if he could say, "Oh, hey, this is the Republican plan," and then
The Republicans would get on board with it.
yeah. Well, the Democrats would get on board with it because it's the Republican plan. It's going to go through the Senate, and it's systemic change. And if the media actually cared about reporting on things like systemic change rather than individual departments' use of force policy, and it's like that's kind of the problem, but it's still too small scope. You're not talking about how judges issue warrants and how police collect evidence for warrants and how warrants are executed. It's use of force only, and it's like that's not really sufficient even. I mean, oh hey, the Louisville Police Department revised its policies. It's like, yeah, okay.
I mean, honestly, what could you change their use of force policy? Because
Without
Breonna
changing
Taylor's boyfriend
the law,
shot first. Like, that would basically, and he was struck with a mortal wound. Like, if he didn't have other cops, if the cop who got injured didn't have other people there to immediately treat his wound, he would have died because the gunshot severed his femoral artery.
Ooh.
Like, that's why the guy got arrested on attempted murder for a little bit, like, of a police officer, because that would have killed him had there not been someone immediately there to take care of it.
And yeah, I mean, there needs to be systemic reforms that go, we're not going to send cops into these situations at all, rather than we're going to send cops in, but we're going to send them in without guns or something. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Because
I mean, like, you shouldn't be...
Because if you're serving a drug warrant, which is what it was, right? Because they had suspicion that she was, helping her ex-boyfriends with drug smuggling and things like that. And drug trafficking. It was like, drug dealers are usually armed.
Yeah, drug dealers are usually armed, but you're talking about a single female drug dealer.
Yeah.
And she's not really a dealer per se.
Just need
She's
a
more
moment
of
to
a,
catch my breath.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, and that was why, like, the warrant. The reason they got no-knock warrants is because it was part of a drug thing, along with two other places, right?
Oh, okay.
And the other places were like the actual drug dens. Yes.
Right.
Oh, sorry. So the other places were the actual drug dens, and but the officer on duty, and this was a good call by the officer on duty, right?
Right.
Was this was just a woman supposedly by herself, from what they could tell, and she's really not really a threat to us, right?
And I mean, the other thing you could do, if you wanted, would be to explicitly make it illegal to shoot at people who barge into your home even announced. But I mean, maybe, I don't know, you didn't hear them because you were in the basement or something, and then you come upstairs and there's some stranger in your home. Castle Doctrine pretty much says you are legally able to cap that food.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, you could legally make it legally harder for a citizen to basically
defend themselves.
Say, you are a person in my house I do not know, therefore I'm gonna shoot you, and make it so that that's not the expected reaction. Because, I mean, at this point, between the no-knock warrants and the Castle Doctrine, it basically is encouraging people to get into gunfights because the police are going into private property, and Castle Doctrine says on your private property, you basically have a right to shoot people.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe they are a threat. And I mean, believing someone is a threat, both for the police and for other people as a standard, is a pretty low standard. It's a pretty easy standard to meet. I mean, you can say someone seems threatening, and a lot of the time juries are like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. They seemed threatening, therefore you can use
deadly force.
And
just need a moment to catch my breath.
Believe there is imminent risk of death is the standard, but that doesn't set up the actual standards for what that belief, whether that belief is reasonable or not.
Mm-hmm.
So you can believe unreasonably and juries basically have to err on the side of, well, you still believed, and that's still the law, is that you believed it. And it's like, okay, so we're not just setting up for crack house invasions. We're telling average citizens America is dangerous, and random people barging into your house are a dangerous threat, and you should probably be shooting them. Oh, and you're legally protected if you do shoot them. And it's like, okay, welcome to legal gun battles in people's houses because they don't realize the police are coming in. I mean, announcing doesn't always work. I mean, what if you have somebody who's hard of hearing or their hearing aid battery died or something? And it's like, okay, well, we're still in situations where it's not going to end up well for people in the apartment or for perhaps the officers, because I mean, I bet that guy who got shot and had to have a bunch of surgeries to get his femoral artery reattached is not happy about getting that job and getting shot. But it's like, yeah, it was perfectly legal for, under the law as it stands, which probably should not be the law as it stands, it was perfectly legal for Breonna Taylor to get shot and perfectly legal for Breonna Taylor's boyfriend to shoot the cop. And it's like, the problem is,
you know what I find hilarious? This is what I find hilarious about this whole situation.
What?
Is if you think about it, right? So this is Louisville, right?
Innocence.
So Louisville, you have cops break into Breonna Taylor's apartment, and they claim, oh, castle doctrine. He was allowed to defend himself. He's a legal gun owner. Him shooting the cop was totally fine. Okay, because they broke into his house, they were on her property, and were threatening, right? And then the Louisville couple that's down the road, right, when they have protesters go onto their property and say they're going to kill their dog and stuff, and have, you know, weapons of their own, and the couple brandish, you know, show that they're armed, right, and don't shoot, it was the worst thing ever.
Just need a moment,
and they should go to jail for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think from
You've destroyed him, and yet
from the moderate left, there is an idea that society can exist in a way that is predominantly non-violent, and people don't need to have guns, and people don't need to be protecting private property with guns. I mean, perhaps because they don't, believe in private property necessarily being an important thing. I mean, there are a lot of people from a lot of philosophies that will go, material goods are material goods, or I don't know, if somebody's gonna steal my shitty car, then
so be it.
Maybe I report it stolen just to get the insurance payout, but I'm not gonna go try to seek it out myself, because it's like, somebody stole my shitty car. Why would you steal my shitty car? I guess you really need a car because this was a pretty shitty car. And it's like, okay, so people aren't as set on private property and material goods being, you know, you have stepped a foot into my property in a way that I deem threatening, therefore I shoot you. And I mean, some of those people argued that the people who would find other people threatening are, in fact, the problem.
So Breonna Taylor's boyfriend is the problem?
The cops thinking that they were going to be threatened, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, and the people in Louisville are all part of the same problem. Philosophically, part of the same problem, and that problem is a climate of violence and a climate of perhaps jumping too quickly to a violent resolution. And it's like, okay. And there are leftists who will say, oh yeah, no, guns are good but they'll say guns are good because they want a revolution with the guns, or guns are good because of other things, or like defending the government from a tyrannical government. And it's like, you're saying guns are good because violence is at times necessary based upon what you believe, and we don't have unified beliefs on
Just need a
when
moment to
violence
catch
should
my
or should
breath.
not be used.
Mhm.
And as a society, maybe we don't want to all start acting like players in DayZ, where you go to try to knock on someone's door because you need a cup of flour and they shoot you in the face because you're on their property and you happen to look threatening. Who knows?
Don't look threatening at them. Obviously, that's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, he kept coming to the door even though the door has a sign that says no solicitors. Oh, that's a threatening move. And it's like, there are people who argue that despite of all the violence throughout human history, that societies can exist in a non-violent way. And it's like, okay, that's a viewpoint to have. It's generally ahistorical, but okay. Maybe there is some way to make it so that people can exist together harmoniously and not have to worry about violence in their communities at all. And I think that's what part of that is what was sold to our parents' generation in the baby boomers and the Gen X kind of space. It's like, if the war on drugs succeed, there will be no crime. There will be no more violence. It will go back to complete peace. When it was like, that wasn't a thing.
That was never a thing.
It was never a thing. But there was this nostalgia for peace, which really only existed for a brief time in the middle of the war and immediately after the war, because of the war being World War II, because we were generally too busy with other things and other concerns to be worried about fighting each other necessarily. And it wasn't like Vietnam, where we had some kind of internal unrest about this war potentially being unjust. No, it was like World War II, pretty much everyone agreed it was a just war, and pretty much everyone was chill with what was going on the U.S. side domestically in order to fight the war, and people didn't turn to crime because they wanted everybody to either enlist in the war or go work in a factory and make munitions, kind of deal. And
you have a very rosy outlook of World War II.
Yeah, I mean, you're also sending off a bunch of people to die.
Oh no, I just mean you have a very rosy attitude of the internal politics of the United States during World War II. It's very adorable. And yeah.
I know it's not accurate,
Oh my god, I knew
but it's a lot more accurate than...
Oh, there was a lot more unity than, say, Vietnam or any other war. Yes.
And then you end up with the after-war period, where you end up with things like outlaw bikers becoming a thing, because you have a lot of people veterans coming back from World War II, who may have PTSD and don't necessarily know it or get treated for it. I mean, PTSD has been a thing throughout human history.
They were not.
If you look for it in the history books, it's just we didn't recognize and have ways to deal with it. So a lot of the outlaw biker gangs that started in the 60s, I mean, the Hells Angels existed at the same time as Woodstock was going on.
Mhm.
They started out as groups largely of veterans who felt they didn't fit into normal society, so they created their own society outside of normal rules and bounds. And it's like, that's that kind of thing, and then the media picks up on it, and they're like, outlaw biker gangs. Outlaw biker gangs are bad. They're gonna come and take your children, and they're gonna do incredible amounts of meth, and then, I don't know, sell your children into slavery. All that kind of stuff. And the media grabs onto it because the media isn't necessarily caring about... There's no other real big news stories. I mean, when you're in a war, the big news story is always, how is the war going? But in peacetime, what's your big news story? The media always wants a big news story.
Everyone's after a big news story all the time.
Yeah, so they're always after what's the big story, and it's like, okay.
Although now they're propaganda, so I'd rather have them after the big story than propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, the problem right now with American media is that we have politically split along certain lines, and there's a lot of money in playing to the politics of groups, because a lot of groups define themselves more on like political positions than via other things. I mean, ultimately, I'm not sure whether the average American has number one like group delineation being political party, and the number two being like occupation, and the number three being socioeconomic class, maybe. Because really, those are where it is. It's like, how rich do you look, and then do you work in a similar environment to me, and like the blue collar white collar divide is both socioeconomic, but it's also occupational, because it's a lot of work with your hands versus sit behind a desk and work with your head all day kind of thing. And there are people on both sides who disdain the other people in the other group. But I think part of the problem, and going back even to George Washington talking about the rise of political parties in his exit address, is that Republican versus Democrat, or, I mean, post 2015 and Trump's entry, if you are a Trumper or not, those kinds of political distinctions are much more important to people now than they may have been at times in the past. And media is always going to want eyeballs, both for the fact that we have a lot of advertising-based media, so eyeballs sell advertising, and because more eyeballs means that you are succeeding. It's how success is measured in the entertainment space, is how many eyeballs you have, because it's an easily measured statistic. It's not necessarily how much enjoyment those people got out of watching your movie. It's how many people tuned in to
Just
see
need a
your
moment
movie.
to
It's
catch my
not
breath.
what the Rotten Tomatoes score is for the finale of Game of Thrones. It's how many people watched the finale of Game of Thrones. It's how they quantify success.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily a good way to quantify success, but it's how they quantify success. So anything that plays onto group divides and is controversial on a group-to-group basis is going to be something that gathers eyes. And that means that also there are various media channels that have aligned themselves along various group bases. And politically, it would be useful if we had a functional multi-party system, like the Greens and the Libertarians were actually like reasonable chances to get at least 1 or 2 seats kind of deal in Congress, the way like the parliamentary system in Great Britain or Israel is, so that you have, sure, there's a lot of people from the major parties, but there's also a whole bunch of other parties that may win things, and part of governing is coalitions between parties, and sometimes a party doesn't even field the candidate in a certain county, so that the Greens won't field the candidate because they realize that if Greens and Labour compete, then the Tories will win in this district, so therefore the Greens don't field the candidate, or sometimes Labour doesn't field the candidate despite being the bigger party, and then it's like, if you would have voted Labour, vote Green.
Mhm.
And there's agreements between parties like that, and that splits up the grouping more. But when the grouping is, and has been for a long time, up until Trump, has been Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. And I mean, if somebody asks you what you are politically, if somebody in 2006 or 2010 asked you what you were politically, those are both midterm election years. One in the second term of Bush and one in the first term of Obama. If somebody asked you what political party you were and you said, "Oh, I'm a libertarian,"
Just need
you're
a
still
moment
gonna
to
you're
catch
gonna
my
find a
breath.
fair number of people who don't even know what a libertarian is, because the next thing out of their mouth is gonna be, "What are you? What does that mean?" And because they expect the answer to that question to be like a trinary choice, with being either Democrat, Republican, or I don't give a shit as your 3 choices.
Mhm.
And now at least it's good. You could see it as a good thing that there's beginning to be more division on both sides. There's Trumper conservatives and there's never Trumper conservatives. Trumper Republicans and never Trumper Republicans. To avoid using the conservative liberal axis to do it, it's like, if you're a Republican, largely what you're judged on is how you align with Trump. And before that, it was a lot of how you align with the Tea Party for a brief time, when the Tea Party was a
but it cannot be extinguished.
So that splitting up of the Republican Party, and then the splitting up of the Democratic Party that has largely been along moderate progressive lines. Like, a lot of people say, "Are you a liberal or a leftist?" when you're talking to politically inclined millennials who would vote Democratic or are either going to vote Democratic or vote Green or not vote at all, kind of thing, or I don't know, vote for Vermin Supreme or something. And it's like, oh, are you a liberal or leftist, kind of? And people are recognizing that there is a more leftist, progressive, socialist to a degree way in which group in the party. And I mean, you could argue that Sanders is socialist about as much as the People's Republic of China is socialist right now. And it's like, yeah, they are socialist, but they also heavily engage in certain aspects of capitalism. They're in some weird middle ground group. It's like the Communist Party of China is not really communist. I mean, they're socialist, but they're also socialist moving towards capitalist because, like, they have a stock market. What socialist country has a stock market?
Yeah.
I mean, the Chinese stock market is weird and super volatile and doesn't play well with foreign investors because of the shenanigans they do with their currency rate. But they still have, like, a concept of private ownership of companies and a stock market because they trade equity in those companies. And it's like, oh, hey, that's a...
Yeah, I know.
So,
Yes.
I mean, a lot of
I'm aware of that.
It's good that we're breaking up the parties, but I think part of that is that the way they're breaking up is pretty radical, like along radical lines in some ways. I mean,
I don't know how you think.
A lot more dimensions to the political compass than just north, south, east, west in order to define the ways in which you could really say Trump is or isn't a radical. Because there are certainly ways in which Trump, I think you could claim accurately that Trump is a radical, but I don't think they're on the standard kind of two-axis graph that, like, reddit.com/r/political compass meme uses.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that, you know, like, there's yellow lib right and there's purple lib right, and I mean they're both lib right, but they're weird in how they're different, and some people would argue not that different, but they claim they're different, and it's like, well, you're both lib right on this particular set of axes that we have chosen. You really need another axis, or maybe more than one other axis, in order to really accurately deal with describing all that.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I use the there is a 4-axis political compass.
Kind of like the Myers-Briggs kind of thing, right? See?
Yeah, not very widely known either. So
no, probably not. No,
but no,
because I mean, political compass implies that it's like north, south, east, west, and terms like left and right tend to imply that, well, that's one axis, and it's like, well, what does being left or being right really in this particular country at this particular time? Because you could argue that oh, hey, the Democrats are left and the Republicans are right. And there are people who would very vehemently disagree with you on both of those claims.
Mm-hmm.
But we like to have this neat little left-right distinction, and we like to follow those distinctions because, I mean, we're humans and we're tribal, and we like easy groupings. It's why stereotypes and cultural ethnicities exist as things.
Oh, I would say I don't know. You have the Democratic Party currently is the old corporatist Democrats who are the ones mostly in power and hold positions. And then you have the loud activist base of the party who are left, and so far left that it's getting scary. And then you have basically a bunch of people that just vote
Oh yeah,
Democrat.
the unholy alliance between, and I use the word unholy not lightly, the unholy alliance between politics and religion that has become a thing in America is another mess entirely, really.
What just happened?
Because it's like you have people in America who literally believe they are doing the will of God by voting for certain people, and it's like that's a little out there. It's a little weird and culty and not very separation of church and state. You get my drift.
Which just happened.
So I mean, there are definitely religious conservatives. I mean, like if you look at the flair on Reddit's an easy one to go to because Reddit has a lot of communities, but Reddit conservative has different flair, and a lot of those flair involve religious identities as well as like political identities, because conservatism is, I mean, largely political. It's about the amount of it's political and social. It's about the amount of change you wish to see in a government and a society. But there's a lot of religious people who go and, as much as the progressives try to force people to act in certain ways, and you and I have talked about this before. I mean, there is certainly a level upon which the idea of policing profanities in a terms of service agreement, and having those profanities be religiously based, like I don't know, damn. Like, damn is entirely about the concept of damnation. It is a religious concept, and that's how it became a swear word and a profanity. And the concept of censoring profanities could be seen in a similar way, and censoring profanity being bad. I mean, we're mature channels. We do not censor profanity, and sometimes people don't censor profanity on a philosophical basis, and sometimes people don't censor profanity because they don't care. And I mean, I don't censor profanity because I don't particularly care, and I do this for fun, and it's harder for me to watch my language and deliberately try to create a family-friendly environment, which, I mean, of course, Twitch and YouTube all want, is family-friendly environments, and it's like, yeah, but that means being on my best behavior all the time, and that means more exertion, and therefore it's less fun for me to involve myself in this kind of platform. It's like, but philosophically, some people are anti-censorship in that way. They're like, don't censor profanities. And then there is an argument that, I mean, as much as jam is a profanity,
A wretched sight. While you be skulking about,
using the T word that Animemes banned, not in relation to trap throwing speed or the ascendancies that are related to throwing actual things on the ground which trigger when other things come near them, but the word is trap. I'm trying to dance around it, but the Animemes banned trap. It was a whole mimetic thing. If you haven't heard about it, I am glad you haven't heard about it, because it is a whole rabbit hole. It's very deep. But I mean, some people are against censoring that in the same way they're against censoring. Some other people are against censoring other profanities like damn, and there are some people who are very heavily pro-censoring that, in the same way that there are some people that are very heavily pro-censoring using the Lord's name in vain. And really, that is, both of those are
Just
a
need a
level
moment to
of
catch my
culture
breath.
policing. And yes, you can argue that any culture policing is bad, but then there leads to further arguments about, like, what should be normal in culture and what should be expected level of civility and respect from one member of your culture to another member of your culture, kind of thing. And because that plays into the idea of respect, is the idea that you can in fact be
No Amana.
violent verbally and linguistically and tonally in ways that aren't necessarily violent physically. So, like, a disrespectful tone is, in a way, a kind of violence against somebody who you don't respect.
See, I don't think words can be violent. I mean, I don't think, like, words or speaking can be violence, if that makes sense. Should not be considered violence.
So it's like you can draw a delineation between violence as a concept that so the easy definition of violence is an action taken by a person in order to inflict harm upon someone else. So I do something intentionally to inflict harm.
What?
And then you can draw a line between actions taken to inflict physical harm and actions taken to inflict emotional harm or mental harm. And I would argue that the distinction is meaningful in that they are different types of violence. But I think they're both violence in the sense of intending to bring harm to someone.
Okay. Well, I
Like,
gotta go to bed because I gotta wake up in
Okay.
8 hours. So I'm going to be ending my stream.
Yep.
I've completed.
I haven't actually been playing much PoE. I've just been talking because I feel really glad to have somebody I can talk to that's not my parents about this kind of stuff, because I mean,
Yeah.
Parents are good people, but my dad is not particularly an analyst, doesn't like doing analysis, and my mom has her own set of biases and ideas, and she doesn't tend to speak up about things as much. She's a really good listener. She's not necessarily good about explaining how she feels about some things.
Yeah.
She's good at explaining how she feels about other things.
Okay. Well, I will probably chat with you tomorrow.
Yep. I will be streaming tonight here. It's a little after midnight my time. I am probably going to be streaming for the next 2 hours or so. Maybe. Depends on how tired I feel. I mean, right now, I feel a little tired and I've got a bit of a headache, but I think it's partly dehydration and it's partly the fact that I haven't eaten anything in a while. It's been a while. I don't know how long I've been live. 3 hours. It's been 3 hours. I've drank like an ounce of water. But go to bed. I'll be here. Then I'll go to sleep. Then I'll wake up, and then I'll tell you that I've woken up.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good night. Bye.